I'm an author and a very passionate writer. Today, I want to talk about speed reading. What is speed reading? Speed reading is nothing but your capability to read at a higher speed than an average person without losing comprehension. Speed reading is less about increasing your speed and more about retaining the comprehension while you're reading at a high speed. Today, I am going to tell you a method of speed reading that you can use to increase your speed drastically. Now, why should you increase your speed? Why should you speed read is something I don't want to spend much time on, but because I understand you might already know about it. Of course, you have perks if you are able to read faster. You can always read more in any day if you have a compulsion of reading a lot of documents, suppose you're a writer, researcher, or any person in the education field, you got to read a lot, and sometimes it becomes boring when you have to drag yourself the whole day, keep reading and reading. For me, it's not boring. I love reading, but yeah, it can get boring if you are reading too slow. So speed reading always has a benefit. For students, it's definitely a big plus, because as a student you have to study a lot to commit to your assignments or for your exams, and you have to read a lot of thick books like I did when I was in engineering college. So speed reading always helps you, because the point is that you don't lose comprehension while you're reading with the speed. Now, let me give you the method. Step 1, you start reading a book, a physical book. Read it aloud at the most comfortable speed you can. Then, after a page, increase your speed a bit. You read one more page, then you increase it more. Increase it more. And as you keep reading, keep increasing. Of course, as you keep increasing, you will have to speak louder. Remember, I told you to speak loudly, read loudly. There will be a stage that you will reach when you will be reading at your highest speed while reading aloud. At that time, switch to the silent zone. Continue reading the same book, but this time you be silent. While you are reading aloud, you, after a point of time, you will start panting for your breath, because there is a limitation to how long you can hold your breath, which is why you cannot increase your speed too much. But the moment you will switch to the silent zone, you will realize that that limitation is completely gone. Now there is no limit to which you can increase your speed. So does that mean you can like read hundreds of books in a day and increase speed like drastically? Like if I suppose I have to pick up a book, uh as a speed reader, I can just do this, done. Of course not. That's not gonna happen. That can only happen with vampires and speedsters. And these are not real people, these are only in stories. We are going to increase speed. Maybe we will increase our speed from 100 to 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Of course, we will not increase the speed so drastically, but there will be a lot of difference. An average person reads at a speed of around 120 to 150 words per minute. But a speed reader can easily go beyond 500. The last time I checked in my session, where we had a kind of competition between readers who can read fast, and I counted the words, I realized that I reached the speed of 1200 words per minute. That's my peak speed. I cannot go beyond that, but that's exactly my peak speed. Now, I'm going to show you, give you a real demo of how you can do that. Remember the point. You have to read at speed, but you cannot lose comprehension. Then the crux of speed reading is like totally gone. Okay, so this is one book, Writer's Journey. I am just opening the introduction chapter, and let me start reading. Okay, I will first read at my comfortable speed. I invite you to join me on a writer's journey, a mission of discovery to explore and map the elusive borderlands between myth and modern storytelling. We will be guided by a simple idea. All stories consist of a few common structural elements found universally in myths, fairy tales, dramas, dreams, and movies. They are known collectively as the hero's journey. Understanding these elements and their use in modern writing is the object of our quest. Used wisely, these ancient tools of the storyteller's craft still have tremendous power to heal our people and make the world a better place. Do I sound like a speed reader? Of course not. Let me increase my speed a bit. My own writer's journey begins with the peculiar power storytelling that always had over me. I got hooked on the fairy tales and little golden books read out aloud by my mother and grandmother. I devoured the cartoons and movies pouring out of TVs in 1950s, the thrilling adventures on the drive-in screens, and the lurid comic books and the mind-stretching science fiction of the day. When I was laid up with a sprained ankle, my father went to the local library and brought back wonderful stories of Norse and Celtic mythology that made me forget the pain. I increase the speed. You can observe that. Now let me increase it further. A trail of stories eventually led me to reading for a living as a story analyst for Hollywood studios. Though I had evaluated thousands of novels and screenplays, I never got tired of exploring the labyrinth of stories with its stunningly repeated patterns, bewildering varieties, and puzzling questions. Okay, I can read better without my specs, so let me learn. Where do stories come from? How do they work? How do they tell us about ourselves? What do they mean? Why do we need them? How can we use to improve the world? Increase my speed. Now I'm going to increase my speed. I'm going to keep increasing my speed slowly, and I will read till I reach my maximum read aloud speed. Okay. You might not understand anything of what I'm reading after a certain point of time, but I will. That's more important as a speed reader. Okay. Above all, how do storytellers manage to make the story mean something? Good stories make you feel you have been through a satisfying, complete experience. You have cried or laughed or both. You finish the story feeling you have learned something about your life, about yourself. Perhaps you have picked up new awareness, a new character, or attitude to model in your life on. How do storytellers manage to pull that off? What are the secrets of the ancient trade? What are the rules and design principles? Over the year, I began to notice some story elements, some common elements and adventures, stories and myths, and intriguingly familiar characters, provocations, and so situations. I became vaguely aware there was a pattern or a template or some sort of guiding the design of the stories. I gave some pieces of the puzzles was overall plan you did me. And at the UC Film School, I was fortunate enough to cross paths with the work of the mythologist Joseph Campbell. The encounter with the Campbell for me, and many other people, a life-changing experience. A few days of exploring the labyrinth of these people. He wrote the House of His producers, electrifying the organization of my life and thinking, and there exploded in the pattern I had been sensing. Campbell broke the secret of the story, and his work was a flavor. It's an illuminating, deeply shorted landscape. I work with the Campbell's idea in his voice stories and understand the phenomenal repeat business of the story, Star Wars, and Slaves and Guardian. People are going back to this film and seeking some kind of religious experience and seem to be free to others, especially because they reacted and they reflected the universally satisfying pattern Campbell from myths. There are some people near here with thousand rows and lifesaver and began to work on a story on movie studios and my job work. I was desperately wait for Campbell's work and became a reliable tool set to further diagnose and solve problems of prescribing solutions the elements was time I would have been lost. You must have observed that I was literally panting for breath after a point of time. This is the maximum speed I could reach, and beyond that, I cannot go. But if you're wondering if I'm able to understand whatever was written in this book, because that's the point. Yeah, I definitely understood. Initially, he spoke about the varieties of stories that a person goes through, and every time he goes through these varieties, he enjoys. Then he spoke about Joseph Campbell. He aspires to become like him, and he talked about hero's journey. And he was initially introduced by his father stories of Celtic mythology, Greek mythology. Later on, he started reading because of his profession, and then he came to know about Joseph Campbell and his storybook. Like his book writer's journey was amazing, and if that was not something that he had read, then he had been lost, something like that. So I got the gist. There was nothing lost to me. I could understand everything. I'm not sure if you could understand anything I read in my last two paragraphs. This is how speed reading works. Now you may be wondering, okay, how does this actually work? How can I increase my speed within few minutes? Well, I increased the speed quite drastically because I'm already a speed reader, and of course I have to record this video, so I can't go on and on for the whole day. But When you do it, if you're doing it for the first time, you do it slowly, like pace by pace, pace by pace. Like when you play piano, you don't increase your speed drastically just at one one go. You have to do it slowly. Like you start with, let's say, note by note you increase. Even when you're increasing the pitch, they don't ask you to increase not like that. Not before you become an expert player, but you increase like this. When you are comfortable, you can increase your speed. You're more comfortable, you're okay with this speed, then you speed again. Okay, I'm not very comfortable. I'm not a music person, but I understand this is how, whether you're reading a book or you're playing a music, the formula is simple. You gradually increase. But how does this actually work? Have you ever heard of something called homeostasis? Our brain and our body has a tendency to create a balance, to maintain a balance. Now, there is a low thing and there is a high thing, and in between is that balance thing. Now, if I have to read at this speed, let's say, to illustrate this concept, I drew the hero's goal in such each improvement as straight lines, vectors of intention. It's going to be boring and tedious, not just for me, but for you also. You will drift to sleep. This is my lowest speed, maybe, and then highest speed. There is not out of the woods, and we are crossing the X3 now as the hero begins to deal with the consequences of confronting the dark force of the world. In between that is my normal speed, which I can call, homeostasis point. This stage marks the decision of return to the ordinary world. The hero realizes that the special world must eventually be left behind, and there are still dangers, temptations, and tests ahead. So our mind always looks for a point where you get to the balanced speed, then you don't feel stressed. When you're using this formula of speed reading and gradually increasing your speed, what is actually happening is your lowest speed is shifting, your highest speed is shifting. So the middle point where you reach homeostasis automatically starts shifting, and that's how you start gaining on speed. And there is a point when the high speed becomes your natural speed, or maybe your high speed becomes your lowest speed. Most of the people are able to read 120 words to 150 words in a minute. You can easily increase, double it, easily reach 500 if you use this method even for 15 to 20 days. But you have to commit yourself for half an hour. And do not play with the process that, okay, I will directly read in silence. I cannot read aloud, my throat won't allow. See, I have thyroid, and if I can read aloud, why can't you? And it's a natural process. You can read aloud, and why I'm asking you to read aloud is because it has perks. First, when you read aloud, you are not just reading, you are listening. So there is big factor when you're reading that can endanger your progress, and that is distraction. Now when you're reading aloud, this distraction is sort of eliminated, because when you read aloud, you have to use your voice, you have to use maximum senses, you have to listen to what you're reading, you have to see what you're reading. And because you're trying to read faster, you have to hold on to your breath, and you have to always keep body in control. So it's like you are engrossed. This is an immersive experience, and because of the immersiveness, nobody can distract you. But when you're reading silently, distraction is the worst thing that can happen to you. But yeah, there could be other challenges too. Some people might say, okay, my throat, bad, I can't go, fast. You can actually. For you, I would like to suggest something. Do this. Now, you think you cannot go faster? Try it with songs first, and you will know that you can actually go faster. I'm going to sing my favorite song for a few minutes. My voice is not that good, so bear with me for a while. So I'm gonna sing it, and then I'm gonna try to increase my speed every time I sing it again. दिल इबादत कर रहा है, धड़कने मेरी सुन, तुझको मैं कर लूं हासिल, लगी है यही धुन, जिंदगी की शाख से यूं कुछ हंसी पल चुन, तुझको मैं कर लूं हासिल, लगी है यही धुन. Now I'll sing again and I'll try to increase my speed. दिल इबादत कर रहा है, धड़कने मेरी सुन, तुझको मैं कर लूं हासिल, लगी है यही धुन, जिंदगी की शाख से यूं कुछ हंसी पल चुन, तुझको मैं कर लूं हासिल, लगी है यही धुन. Now I'll try to increase again. दिल इबादत कर रहा है, धड़कने मेरी सुन, तुझको मैं कर लूं हासिल, लगी है यही धुन. The point is that it is natural for you to keep increasing your speed, just like you can increase your speed while playing piano, just like you can increase your speed while singing. In the same way, you can increase your speed while reading, whether you're reading aloud or you're reading silently. Of course, when you're reading silently, there is no limitation of, speaking or, breath panting. But yes, like I said, you cannot read like a vampire whole book in a day. That won't happen, but you can increase your speed significantly. Now, while you go through this process, when I started, learning speed reading, my speed was 120 words per minute. I remember because I had started doing it from a book that had a calculator, like not a little calculator, but that had a way to calculate what is your speed. And I started with that. And the simple way to do that is just count the number of words every line has and just count the number of lines. You don't need to calculate the exact words. Yeah, but if you're using your PC to read something, you may as well do that. But here, just count the number of words your top line has and count the number of lines, and that's how you will know that how many words are there. You will be able to record your speed. I will talk about a simple tool. It's called Toggle, Toogl, no E, toggle.com. That allows you to actually put a timer on, and not just timer, like timer you can use even in your watch, or you can use on your PC or your mobile, but this allows you to also keep a record of it. So you can type the name of the book and the chapter number or the page number that you're reading, and then start the timer. Do this for half an hour. You will come to know how many pages have you read. Then note down the pages in Toggle. Later on, when you again start reading, you record it again. This way, you will come to know your progress. You will know how fast you are able to get while reading over the time of the practice. Okay. Now, the formula is simple. I'll just repeat it. You start reading aloud at a very comfortable speed and slowly increase your speed page by page. I did it paragraph by paragraph because I'm already a speed reader. But if you're not already a speed reader, do it page by page first. And when you think you are good enough to start with the speed of paragraph by paragraph, you can do that. And after that, you switch to the silent zone and continue reading it. Please do it half an hour at least every day. Then within 20 days, you will see difference, like real difference. And trust me, it always works. Like I told you about the homeostasis, the piano idea, all the logics. I guess you get all the logic. If you still have excuses, like I don't have time to read. I can read a book even while I'm cooking. For females, like you can put a rice cooker on right, put a dal cooker on left, and start reading. Okay, what about men? They don't have time. They work so hard in offices. But you know what? You go out. You go out to smoke. That's such a waste of body and time both. But it's okay. If you love smoking, do it. Relax. But while at the time of smoking, you can actually smoke from the right hand and read from the left hand. How will I hold the book? Especially for people like you, there is an object I have. Okay. This is like a book reader for people who like to read with one hand. Sometimes I do it when I travel, like in a bus or a local. Put your thumb inside, carry this book, and ta-da! See, the page is open. You can easily read. You can use this, and you can use this anywhere. If you are a housewife and actually cooking a vegetable, you can start cooking a vegetable and you can start reading from this hand. See how easy it is, no excuses. And if you feel no, just make sure you don't push it too hard so it gets stuck. You are not comfortable with this. Well, you can use your PC and you can read it from the PC, because whether you're reading from a book or you're reading from a PC, the same formula can work. Now you'll think there is a lot of exposure if I read on a PC. But there are also benefits. Like you can zoom in here. If I want to read a piece at a little larger font size, I can't do that. I can't. But with PC, I can. I can increase the font size and I can read at my comfortable speed. Another benefit is that if I have to change the page, I have to literally go like this and change it, hold it again properly, and then read it. But with PC, you can just do scrolling and keep reading and reading and reading and reading. Now, if you are stressed about the fact that there will be a lot of screen time, that's exactly where speed reading will help you. If you have to read a couple of documents, takes you from morning till evening, by increasing your speed, let's say 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, within 2-3 hours, you'll be finished with your reading. So, isn't that a big benefit? And if you're more stressed about your, eyes, why don't you buy a Kindle, like Kindle Paperwhite? It is much safer to your eyes than any other PC or any other device. And if you are comfortable reading online, but you don't know, I am working, actually, I'm doing some other things that are mindless things, like that don't require much of brain cells, like maybe, just putting some, vegetables on something or cutting the vegetables, whatever, you can always read. Now, if you don't like this, that thumb formula, what else can you do? You can use your PC. It is always flexible. You can move around the screen and adjust it. Or you can use a book like this. Put your book on this. Like, you put a book on this. Open it, adjust it, and start reading. If you don't like this idea either, what you can do, you can use a tablet, and with tablets, you have these additional holders that you can use and adjust the pace. If you don't have a holder, you can use this. You can use this book reader even to place your tab, and you can read it. So actually, and if you think you don't have time at all to read in a day, why don't you do one thing? Just wake up half an hour earlier than you usually do and read the book. Or just before sleeping, read the book. Simple. So, have I covered all the excuses? Distraction covered, timing covered, gadgets covered, online reading, offline reading, allowed reading covered. I hope you are ready to start, and now you will be able to actually do speed reading. Start now, and within 2 hours, you will feel that. You will feel that you're actually able to read faster. And start with reading aloud. Reading aloud has many more benefits than actually speed reading also. Like, when I read, I love my voice. I started falling in love with my voice after reading aloud, because when I get to hear myself speaking in the way I love myself. You can observe the tones, the modulation, if your voice is interesting, if you're reading it right or not. You're able to hear yourself, judge yourself. In that way, not just your reading speed, but even your speaking will improve, because you will be able to make a judgment of how well you are reading, and you can better your conversations by improving upon your communication skills, speaking skills, by listening to yourself. So I hope speed reading is something that you are going to try, because it's going to not just make your life easy. Trust me, it's gonna make it exciting, because once you get the hang of it, initially it could be a little challenging, but once you get a hang of it, you're gonna start enjoying. And consistently, when you do it for over a month, you will develop interest in reading, and your reading will not stay boring anymore. Then you will get into a habit, like they say, 21 days, you get into a habit. I'm asking you to do it for 1 month. You will definitely get into a habit. And once you're into that habit, then reading daily will be an exercise that comes naturally to you. I hope this was useful. And if you have any other challenges than the ones I discussed here, feel free to connect me. You can email me on writerpoojadubey@gmail.com, or you can just drop in comments below the video to ask me questions. And a very humble request: if you use this formula and you realize that you have actually gained on your speed within a month and you're impressed by it, please share your stories on the comments, so other people can also know that this really works. And though the part of this formula was something that I learned from my earlier lessons on speed reading, but I have added a few bits and pieces here to make it easier and better method, and make it faster, to make the speed reading process itself faster, so that you can gain on it even a single day. Trust me, you start today, you will be better tomorrow, because you will be able to gain your speed today itself, provided you read for at least half an hour. Now, why I'm asking you to read for half an hour is because your mind needs time to adjust itself. Like when you're reading one page, then you have to increase your speed slightly, so it needs time. Then more, then more, then more. A few pages after that, you'll be able to increase your speed, and then you switch to the silent zone, and then again you try to increase your speed. If you don't stay for half an hour, you might not be able to see the difference at the end of it. Yeah, once you have practiced it for over a month or two, you have gained some speed already. And now you can switch from, that shifting between pages to shifting between paras. Then even if you read for 15 minutes a day, which is not a long time, it will still work for you. I do it for 15 minutes. For speed reading, I do the practice for 15 minutes only, and that is good enough for me, because I have already been practicing speed reading for a long time now. But I have become passionate about reading. I've always been. So I actually read a lot of books, blog articles, study materials online. I do a lot of reading every single day. And me being a writer, which is my profession, I anyways have to read. But speed reading has really helped me, because I'm able to cover a lot of ground. Before I have to write an article, I might have to read 10 blogs. Before I have to write a report, I might have to read like 30 to 50 articles. And before I can write a book, I might have to read 100 books or study materials. How will I be able to do that? It would be impossible if I didn't know speed reading. So, guys, try it on. Any challenge, you are most welcome to connect with me. And yeah, I can also share one thing. You can join my book readers club, where we actually meet almost every Saturday and we read books together. The bestseller, self-help kind of books. Sometimes we read storybooks, sometimes we tell stories, sometimes we just play some games and have fun. Sometimes we have get-togethers. So if you want to one-on-one connect with me and want me to show you a few things like, how toggle works, how can you use different tools as a reader, what are the best books, and what are the challenges that you're facing, if you can overcome them, you want to talk to me face to face, maybe you can join this club. It's on WhatsApp and meetup.com. You can, it's as in a GWA, Global Writers Academy, uh, Writers and Readers Club. You can just Google it and you'll be able to find out the meetup link. Or I will be sharing the link to the group, the WhatsApp group, in the description of this video. You can check it out, join my group, and I'll see you inside. Till then, take care. Bye bye.